Hello again. So today's video I want to talk about ADHD struggles and struggles with mental health as well, and kind of question what came first out of the two of them really. So I mentioned in the video on that light bulb moment about my personal struggles with mental health, anxiety, depression, and I wanted to give my personal view on how I feel ADHD has kind of muddied the waters a bit in my mental health over the years. For some context, it was probably around 7 to 10 years ago. It's quite broad, but yeah, 7 to 10 years ago, I started having this kind of constant feeling that something wasn't right, almost like an underlying impending dread feeling. After about 6 months of feeling this way and not knowing why I felt this way, so being really confused, I finally plucked up the courage to go to my doctors, to my GP, and speak to him about it. On a side note, that first doctor that I went to see completely dismissed what I was saying and just basically told me to get on with it. And I was at uni at the time, and student mental health is huge in terms of it's like almost at an all-time low. It's quite a crisis at the minute, and that it really frustrated me that he just sort of ignored what I was saying and didn't take it on board whatsoever. But moving on from that, eventually another doctor diagnosed me with sort of anxiety, depression, and at that point I was medicated for it. I had to switch between probably 5 to 8, maybe up to as many as 10 different medications, like SSRIs, before I found one that actually worked for me. I can now fast forward like 9 years probably, because in the meantime, up until only about 2 months ago, nothing had really happened. I'd just been passed pillar to post from different doctors who had given me sort of numerous different diagnoses for why I felt the way I did. So I was told I had like general anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder, social phobia, panic disorder, treatment-resistant depression, and no one could really help. And so moving on to, since I've had the ADHD diagnosis, since getting that, I can now have, like I said in yesterday's video, I can have long conversations, I can function at work so much better, and I've got enough energy to actually pursue my own interests outside of work at the same time. And as a consequence, my self-esteem has massively improved over just the last 2 months or so. So I'm by no means saying that if I was diagnosed earlier in life, I wouldn't have had any issues whatsoever with anxiety and depression, but it has made me wonder since. So, for instance, when I was younger, if I wasn't plagued by sort of rushing, overwhelming thoughts, being unable to sit still for any period of time, constantly daydreaming, missing key details when I'm having conversations with people, or when I'm at school especially, would my self-esteem and like my fear of failing at that time and over the last however many years would they have plummeted as much as they did if I were diagnosed earlier? Who knows? I also wonder what my life might be like today if I was diagnosed at an earlier age and didn't have to go through some of those struggles. I'm only speculating at this point, and just sort of making a video on how I found there to be quite a link between the two of them, how some of the struggles that I've had in the past have somewhat been alleviated since starting ADHD medication. It's been a bit of an eye-opener, but yeah, like I said, I'm only speculating. I absolutely love my life now, and I can see a good future for myself, which is very good. If anyone else can relate to what I've said in today's video or has any questions, I'd love to hear from you, because yeah, this is like a really short version of a much longer, much more in-depth topic that I might go on to in the future. So that's all for today. Quite a short one. I always say that, I think. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.